If you lived through the 1970s or 80s, you remember the feeling. Your heart would jump when the phone rang and someone said, "It's long distance." Long distance meant something important, something expensive, something you couldn't take for granted. If you weren't born yet, imagine this. Calling someone in another state cost real money. $1 per minute, sometimes more. You'd watch the clock, speak fast, plan what you'd say ahead of time. Every second mattered because every second cost money. This is the story of when phone calls required planning, sacrifice, and sometimes a little creativity. When hearing a loved one's voice from far away was rare. When you gathered around the phone like it was an event. This is what it was really like. In this video, we're traveling back to a time when long-distance calls were expensive, complicated, and emotional. From operator-assisted calls to calling collect, from planning Sunday night conversations to speaking fast to save money. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from, and did you live through this time, or are you a curious younger viewer? I read every comment. And if you enjoy trips like this back in time, please like the video so more people can find it. In 1970, a 3-minute call from New York to San Francisco cost about $1.35. That's roughly $11 in today's money for just 3 minutes, several dollars per minute. If you talked for an hour, you'd spend the equivalent of filling up a large car's gas tank. Long distance wasn't cheap. It was a luxury. The price depended on when you called. Weekday daytime rates were the most expensive. If you called between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., you paid full price. Evening rates, starting around 7 p.m., were cheaper. Night and weekend rates were cheapest of all. Families planned their calls around these time windows. If you lived through this time, you remember checking the clock before picking up the phone. You remember your parents saying, "Wait until after 7, or call on Sunday when it's cheaper." You remember the feeling of guilt if you talked too long. Every minute felt expensive because it was. International calls were even worse. In the early 1960s, calling London from Boston could cost around $12 for 3 minutes. That's well over $100 in today's money. People saved for months just to make one call overseas. It was reserved for emergencies, births, deaths, weddings, major life events only. If you're younger, imagine not being able to call someone whenever you want. Imagine saving money just to hear your grandmother's voice. Imagine planning a phone call like it was a special occasion. That's what long distance was like. It wasn't convenient, it was precious. In the 1960s and into the 70s, many long-distance calls still required an operator. You'd dial 0 and wait. A woman's voice would answer, "Operator." You tell her the city, the state, and the phone number. Sometimes the person's name. She'd write it down on a ticket and begin routing the call. If it was a person-to-person call, the operator would ask for the specific person by name when someone answered. If that person wasn't home, you wouldn't be charged. It was more expensive than station to station, but it guaranteed you reach who you needed. Station to station was cheaper, but you'd pay whether they were home or not. The call could take minutes to connect. The operator would plug cables into switchboards, route the call through multiple cities, wait for circuits to open. You'd sit there, receiver to your ear, listening to clicks and static, waiting. Sometimes the call would drop mid-conversation and you'd have to start over. If you'd like a longer, deeper video just about this topic, tell me in the comments and write longer version. Now, let's go back to the story. If you lived through this, you remember the operator's voice. Always polite, always patient. She'd say, "Go ahead, please," when the connection was made. And you'd hear that distant, hollow sound on the line echo, static. But then you'd hear the voice you'd been waiting for, and it was worth it. Collect calls were a lifeline. You'd call the operator and say, "I'd like to make a collect call." She asked for your name. The person on the other end would hear, "Will you accept charges from your name?" If they said yes, they paid for the call. You didn't owe anything. People got creative. College students calling home would give their name as a quick message. Instead of saying John, they'd say, "John arrived safely," or "John needs a ride at 6." The parent would hear the message, decline the charges, and hang up. The message was delivered, no money spent. Families had codes. Let the phone ring twice and hang up meant I got here safely. 3 rings meant call me back. You'd stand by a pay phone, let it ring the agreed number of times, then walk away. Your family knew you were okay without spending a dime on the call. Using someone else's phone was another trick. You might ask a friend if you could use their phone for a quick long-distance call and offer to pay them back later. Or you'd use the phone at work when the boss wasn't looking. In the 1980s, some people started using calling cards to get cheaper rates. If you're younger, this probably sounds exhausting, and it was, but people didn't have a choice. Long distance was expensive, so they got creative. They planned. They sacrificed. They found ways to stay connected without breaking the bank, because hearing that voice mattered more than the money. In many families, long-distance calls happened on a schedule. Sunday nights after dinner, 7 p.m. when the rates dropped. The whole family would gather around the phone in the kitchen or living room. Dad would dial. Mom would talk first. Then the kids would get their turn. 3 minutes each, maybe 5 if it was special. Grandparents lived far away. Aunts and uncles moved for work. Before the call, you'd write down what you wanted to say. You'd rehearse it. You didn't want to waste time fumbling for words when every minute cost money. You'd talk fast, say what mattered, then pass the phone to the next person. Holidays were big calling days. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Mother's Day. Phone lines would be jammed. You pick up the phone and hear a recording. "All circuits are busy. Please try your call again later." You'd hang up, wait 10 minutes and try again. It could take an hour just to get through. When someone answered, the relief was overwhelming. You'd hear their voice, tinny and distant through the static, and everything else would fade away. The cost didn't matter in that moment. The clock didn't matter. You were connected. You were together even if you were 1,000 miles apart. If you lived through this, you remember those calls, the anticipation, the joy, the sadness when it was time to hang up. And if you're younger, maybe now you understand why older people treasure phone calls. Because for decades, those calls weren't casual. They were rare. They were events. They were love. In 1984, AT&T's monopoly broke up. Competition arrived. New companies like Sprint and MCI began fighting for your long-distance business. Prices started dropping. By the late 1980s, rates fell to around 30 cents per minute. By the 1990s, they were even cheaper. Some plans offered flat rates. Then unlimited calling appeared. Calling cards became popular. You'd buy a card with a code, scratch it off, dial an access number from any phone, enter your code, and make a call at a discount rate. International students used them. Travelers kept them in their wallets. They weren't free, but they were affordable. Then the internet arrived. By the late 1990s, email became common. By the 2000s, Skype and other services let you call anyone, anywhere for almost nothing. Then smartphones, FaceTime, WhatsApp, Zoom. Now you can video chat with someone on the other side of the world without even thinking about the cost. Today, most people don't think about the price of a phone call at all. You call whoever you want, whenever you want, for as long as you want. You don't plan it. You don't watch the clock. You don't gather the family around the phone. You just tap a name and talk. It feels effortless, instant, free. But something was lost. When calls were expensive, they mattered more. When you only talked once a month, you had more to say. When hearing someone's voice was rare, it felt more precious. Technology gave us convenience, but maybe it took away a little bit of the magic too. This was life before cheap phone plans, before unlimited calling, before you could talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime you wanted. Long-distance calls required planning, money, and sacrifice. They were events. They were emotional. They were connections you couldn't take for granted, and maybe that made them mean more. Thank you for walking back in time with me. Tell me in the comments, what surprised you the most, and what did you enjoy remembering from your own life? And if you want a full 30 to 40 minute version of this story, let me know as well.